The last fight I had with my girlfriend Rachel Bennett was nuclear. She stood there, red-eyed and furious, pointing at me like I'd committed a crime against humanity. "Ethan Walker," she snapped, her voice cracking, "if I could start over, I'd never be your pathetic little lapdog again." Then she slammed the door, and that was the last time I saw her, at least, in this timeline. See, the universe has a twisted sense of humor, because the next thing I knew, she actually got her wish. She traveled back in time to our senior year at Riverside High School. And guess what? So did I. The thing is, Rachel meant every word she screamed that night. When I ran into her at school, same cafeteria, same bell schedule, same ugly-ass lockers, she walked past me like I was invisible. No more clinging to my arm, no more annoying high-pitched, "Ethan, wait for me." Just Ice Queen mode. I was low-key hurt. The Rachel I knew was clingy, loud, spoiled, dramatic, and all mine. This version? Distant, cold, and apparently too cool for me. I figured, maybe she was serious. Maybe she wanted to start clean. I was even considering letting her go, for real this time, until I accidentally caught her muttering to herself behind the gym after school. She didn't know I was there, hiding behind the vending machine. She kicked a soda can and growled under her breath, "This time, I swear I'll never be his lapdog. I'll be so cool and mysterious, he'll be the one begging for me. He'll chase after me, worship me, become my loyal dog." I deadass almost choked on my gum. She really thought she could pull that off. Ha! That's when I decided, game on. Let's see how long Rachel Bennett can keep up this cold goddess act. Meanwhile, I had bigger problems. I was trying to relearn calculus like it wasn't a foreign language from Mars, and that's not even counting how clingy the future version of her was when I left. Let me remind you, in the future, Rachel had zero shame. Like the time I was grinding through spreadsheets on my laptop and she suddenly waved a silver waist chain in front of me like it was a reward in a video game. "Babe," she cooed, sliding her shirt buttons open, "don't you think this chain makes my waist look thinner?" I ignored her. She upped the stakes, made outfit, sultry voice, cosplay plot about being robbed by a dominant CEO. I kept working. She pouted, called me heartless, then dramatically ran off like a rejected princess. I thought I was free, but 2 minutes later she came back whining that she wanted to eat something fragrant and sweet and tried climbing on my lap. That's when I finally snapped and slapped her hand away. She gasped and clutched her cheek like I'd betrayed our vows. "You hit me," she cried. "Do the other cheek too, keep it symmetrical." Woman was unhinged. I told her off and called her Bessie, her hated childhood nickname. Her face dropped. "You used to call me sweetheart. Now I'm just Bessie." She got so mad she threatened to leave me alone in bed that night without her legs as my pillow. I didn't even flinch. I was exhausted, she was being dramatic, and I just needed sleep. Of course, she couldn't handle that. In the middle of the night, she snuck under my blanket and whispered, "Ethan, I hate you for being such a cold log of wood." I literally kicked her off the bed in my sleep. Next morning, I woke up to her standing at the door with a suitcase, eyes full of betrayal. "You kicked me off the bed. I'm running away from home." I didn't even look up. I was making breakfast. "Sure," I said between bites of toast. "Good luck out there." She blinked at me, stunned. "You're not gonna stop me?" I shrugged. "You've been driving me crazy for weeks. Maybe a little space will be good for both of us." That's when her expression changed. Her voice softened, and she looked genuinely hurt. "Ethan, do you even like me anymore? Or am I just the convenient option? Like you don't have anyone else, so you're settling for me?" I didn't know what to say. It hit me weird. I muttered, "Rachel, if you keep pushing like this, I'll really cut you off." Her shoulders trembled. Her eyes filled again. Then she yelled, "If I could start over, I'd never lower myself for you again. She stormed out, sobbing. I stood there, stunned. When I finally got my senses back and ran after her, boom. Everything went dark. Next thing I knew, I opened my eyes and I was sitting in my damn high school homeroom. Same scratchy uniform. Same ancient chalkboard. Same headache. I nearly screamed. I was back at Riverside High. Senior year. Again. I wanted to cry. All my adult knowledge, gone. My job. My apartment. My entire Spotify playlist. Erased. Worst part. I now had to survive exams again, with a brain full of adult stuff and not a single functioning memory of pre-calc. I wasn't even over the shock yet when I spotted her. Rachel. Or I guess, teen Rachel. She walked past me like I was a stranger. No, Ethan, carry my bag. No, Ethan, let's walk home. Just deadpan. Like I didn't exist. The boys in class whispered about her like she was some unattainable ice queen. She's so cool now, bro, one of them whispered. Total glow up. I almost laughed out loud. This was the same girl who once cried because I didn't kiss her goodbye at 7-Eleven. But now. Now she had them fooled. And it worked. It even worked on me. Because the second I saw her walk away like I was nothing, something tugged at my chest. Like I just lost something I didn't even know I wanted to keep. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about her. She looked so serious. So focused. So different. But I knew better. I knew the mess behind the mask. I knew the girl who barked in alleys, who clung to me in the middle of the night, who fake cried just to get back rubs. And yet, here we were. Back at square one. Or maybe this time, a whole new game board. I guess we're about to find out who's chasing who. It didn't take long before I realized Rachel wasn't just pretending to be cold, she was committed. Ice cold. Straight up glacial. Like, I'd be walking down the hall, she'd be coming from the other direction, and she'd breeze right past me like I was a janitor's mop bucket. Not a glance. Not even a flinch. I started to wonder if maybe I hallucinated the whole barking in the alley scene in our previous timeline. But just as I was about to give up trying to talk to her, fate threw me a bone. I was sitting by the window in homeroom when I saw her standing outside, talking to Lily Johnson, this sweet girl from our class. Rachel reached out, tapped Lily on the shoulder, and asked her if she wanted to play badminton after school. Badminton. Rachel. I almost choked on my pencil. Lily blinked in confusion and asked, "Wait, aren't you walking Ethan home like always?" And then came the dagger. Rachel flicked her hair and said with the most disgusted face I'd ever seen, "What, am I his dog or something?" I swear, a piece of my soul shriveled up and died in that moment. Lily didn't know what to say. Honestly, neither did I. But Rachel? She wasn't done. She added with a smirk, "That was the old me. The new me has better things to do." Then she turned around and strutted off. I should have let it go. I should have ignored it, focused on reviewing for our upcoming math quiz or whatever. But no, I decided to be a masochist and take the long way home, walking aimlessly around the campus just to clear my head. That's when I saw her again. She was hiding behind the science building, talking to herself like a lunatic. "Ugh, playing badminton sucks," she muttered. "I'd rather be walking home with Ethan. He always smells good. Why doesn't he come talk to me? Should I talk to him first?" She sighed dramatically, then shook her head violently. "No. No, Rachel, remember the plan. You're a goddess now. He has to chase you. Be cool. Stay cool." I covered my mouth to stop myself from laughing out loud. She really was struggling to keep up the act. Then she mumbled something like, "Ugh, when he finally confesses, I'll ignore him for 2 days." Now 8, that's too long. Maybe 1 day. Actually, half a day. Okay, fine. 3 hours max. Gosh, I'm too soft. I swear to God, I was holding onto the brick wall to stay upright. This girl was out here running a whole drama in her head. Then she said the wildest thing, "When Ethan becomes my loyal lapdog, I'll dress him in a butler outfit. He'll serve me tea and foot rubs. I'll finally be the one in control." I nearly exploded. I had to walk away before she caught me eavesdropping. That night, I couldn't stop grinning like an idiot. She was still her. Just wrapped in a layer of pretend aloofness. And if she wanted to play that game, I was more than ready to flip the board. But life had other plans. The monthly exams were 2 weeks away, and after looking at my old math notes, I realized I was screwed. So I did what any desperate man would do. I went to Emily Carter, our class president and academic goddess. Emily had always been nice, polite, and way too smart for someone who probably had zero social life. When I asked her to tutor me, she smiled, nodded, and said, "Of course, Ethan. Saturday afternoon work for you?" Perfect. Or so I thought. What I didn't plan for was Rachel randomly showing up right when Emily and I were leaving school. I waved at Emily across the parking lot and said, "Don't forget our study date tomorrow, class press." Rachel happened to be walking behind her. At first, she smiled like I was waving at her. But when she realized I was talking to Emily, her entire face froze. Her smile disappeared so fast, it was like someone yanked it off her. And the way she stared at me. You'd think I just sold her dog to a meat market. She turned on her heel and stormed off. Great. Just great. Now she thought I was dating Emily. That night, I got jumped in an alley. Okay, not literally jumped, but my wrist was yanked by someone hiding in the shadows. I was ready to unleash a Bruce Lee level kick when I realized it was Rachel. She looked broken. Eyes red. Breathing shaky. "You betrayed me," she whispered. "You made plans with Emily. Are you guys dating now?" I opened my mouth to explain, but she cut me off. "Don't lie to me. I know she confessed. You said yes, didn't you? You're going on a date tomorrow, right?" I tried again, "Rachel, it's not," but nope, she was full-blown sobbing now. "Break up with her. Please. I'll do anything. I'll bark. Woof woof. See? I can be your dog again. Please don't like her." My soul left my body. A little boy walking by peeked into the alley and said, "Daddy, there's a big dog in there." The dad took one look and dragged the kid away like we were a crime scene. I panicked and slapped my hand over her mouth. But she licked my palm. Licked it. My brain short-circuited. "Rachel, stop. Please." She blinked at me, about to bark again, when I threatened, "If you make another sound, I'll record this and show everyone who calls you a cold goddess." That shut her up real quick. She straightened her posture, wiped her tears, and sniffed, "Sorry." I was momentarily possessed. "I don't care about your business with Emily at all." "None. Zilch." I rolled my eyes. "Really? That why you just barked like a golden retriever in heat?" She faked a laugh. "Just playing around. I don't care at all." "Good," I smirked. "Because I wasn't gonna tell you anything anyway." Her eyes widened. "Wait, what did she say to you? Did she kiss you? Are you guys?" I leaned in dramatically. "She's tutoring me." "That's it." Her whole face relaxed. Relief flooded her expression so obviously I almost felt bad. But then she crossed her arms again and went, "Pfft, I didn't care either way. I'm glad you clarified for yourself, not for me." "Sure, Rachel. Keep lying to both of us." Saturday arrived. Emily and I met at a quiet coffee shop off campus. I pulled out my notes and was just starting to actually understand the material when a voice behind me made my blood run cold. "Wow, what a coincidence. Studying here, huh?" It was her. Rachel freaking Bennett. She plopped down in the seat next to me like she owned the place. "Hope you don't mind if I join. I'm really passionate about math lately." I looked at Emily, who gave me a surprised smile and said, "Sure. More the merrier." But I saw it. The glint in her eye. The icy tension building between them was palpable. Rachel leaned in and whispered, "I don't get this problem, Ethan. Can you explain it to me?" I sighed. "You sure you want to learn?" She nodded. So I did. And when I reached to pat her head like old times, she beat me to it and rubbed her head into my palm. I froze. Looked at Emily. Her smile dimmed. "Damn it, Rachel." Later, when I went to the bathroom, Rachel turned to Emily and dropped the act. "Stay away from Ethan." Emily pushed her glasses up and replied calmly, "I could say the same. You're distracting him. His grades matter more than your games." Rachel was speechless. I came back and asked where she went. Emily said Rachel left early for something important. I nodded and sat down, but something in me twisted. This wasn't over. Not even close. After that whole chaotic coffee shop incident, Rachel practically vanished from my radar. No dramatic ambushes in the hallway, no spontaneous crying fits in the alley, not even a single fake, "Oh what a coincidence," study interruption. At first, I figured maybe she'd given up on her ridiculous cold goddess act, realized how embarrassing the barking thing was, and decided to just quit while she was behind. But then I passed by her classroom one afternoon and saw something that made me question everything I knew about the universe. Rachel Bennett was doing a test paper. And not just doodling or fake-filling bubbles like she usually did, she was seriously writing, with furrowed brows and her tongue poking out the side of her mouth in concentration. I literally rubbed my eyes to make sure I wasn't hallucinating. But nope. There she was, highlighter uncapped, mechanical pencil loaded, and a sheet full of scribbled formulas. A girl next to her tapped her on the shoulder and said, "Hey Rachel, wanna hit the mall after self-study?" And Rachel replied, get this, with a cold, deadpan, "No. I'm studying." Studying. Rachel freaking Bennett. The girl laughed like it was a joke and said, "You? Studying? Is this a prank?" But when she saw the test paper, her expression turned to horror. She actually backed away like Rachel was possessed. "Dude," she whispered, "whoever you are, get out of Rachel's body." Rachel just rolled her eyes and kept scribbling. It was like witnessing a unicorn doing calculus. I didn't know whether to be proud, suspicious, or terrified. But I let it go. If she wanted to grind hard for her academics just to prove something, I wasn't going to stop her. Then came the results. Monthly exam rankings were posted, and while I maintained my usual place in the top 20, Rachel, well, she climbed 2 whole spots from 10th from the bottom to 8th from the bottom. That might not sound like a big deal, but considering she started with zero motivation and a brain full of TikTok trends, it was basically a miracle. But she didn't look proud. She looked crushed. Like she just got rejected from Harvard. She cried all the way home. Big, ugly sobs. I didn't know why, but something in me told me to go check on her that evening. So I did. I showed up at the Bennett family estate and rang the bell. Her housekeeper let me in, probably recognizing me from the hundreds of times I'd been dragged there in our past life. And the moment I stepped into her room, the smell of alcohol hit me like a truck. There she was, Rachel, curled up on the floor, hugging a wine bottle like it was her emotional support teddy bear, cheeks flushed, hair messy, mascara running down like she was auditioning for a sad music video. "I'm such a loser," she wailed. "Ethan likes smart girls like Emily. Not dumb dogs like me." I froze. "What did you just say?" "I said I'm dumb," she sniffed. "No wonder he treats me like a lapdog. If I wasn't rich and hot, he wouldn't even give me the time of day. I'm just a backup. A placeholder." "Rachel," I started, but she wasn't listening. "If God has any mercy left," she slurred, "please let me be Ethan's dog forever. I don't mind. I'll bark. I'll roll over. I'll wear a collar. Just don't let him kick me away." I blinked. I wanted to laugh. I also wanted to hug her. She looked so pathetically sincere, it actually made my chest ache. She took another swig and then whispered something under her breath. If I hadn't taken it away, I'd never have had a chance with him. That caught my attention. "Taken what away?" I asked. But she just shook her head. "Can't say. You'll hate me more." I tried to press her again, but she clammed up. So I switched tactics. "Okay, then tell me, when did you first fall for Ethan?" She hiccuped. "The first time I saw him. At age 6. He looked so cool with his messy hair and scraped knees. I loved him for 10 years, but I never confessed because I didn't want to lose our friendship." I almost burst out laughing. This girl had spent the last timeline bragging to everyone that I was the one who'd crushed on her for 10 years. Unbelievable. "Got any other secrets you've been keeping?" I asked. She turned red and muttered, "I stole your socks. Your hoodies. Your toothbrush. I have a box full of stuff that smells like you." I was horrified and flattered at the same time. She continued, "Sometimes I'd sniff your pillow just to sleep better. I even took your cologne and sprayed it on my bedsheets." "Rachel," I groaned. "You're a walking lawsuit. Promise me you won't tell Ethan," she begged, grabbing my sleeve like a drowning puppy. "If he finds out, he'll hate me forever." "I won't tell," I said, sighing. "I don't hate you. That was a mistake." The moment I said that, her eyes widened and she started sobbing harder. "Why'd you kiss me then?" "Huh? You bad man. Only my husband can kiss me. Now I'm not pure anymore." "What?" "I'm ruined. Ethan likes clean girls. Now I'm ruined." I deadpan stared at her. "Rachel. Chill. No. Now I have to marry you. Or be your mistress." "What? Unless I'm your dog. That doesn't count as cheating, right?" She pulled the blanket over her head. "Forget it. By I mean Rachel Bennett has fallen to this level. I'm scum." I tried not to laugh but failed miserably. She peeked out from under the blanket and shouted, "You laughing? You dare laugh at me, Ethan Walker? I'll haunt you forever. I'll cling to you like a ghost." She leapt at me and pressed me down on the bed, cheeks red, tears streaking. "I'll expose all your sins. I'll tell everyone how you cried during Titanic. How you ate instant noodles with chocolate syrup in college." "Stop," I chuckled, holding her wrists. "I have a confession." "What now?" she sniffled. I leaned in and said, "I didn't say yes to Emily. I lied. The person I like is you." She froze. Wide eyes. Mouth open. "Wait, for real?" I nodded. She jumped into my arms and started bawling again. I was so scared. "I thought you were really gonna leave me. I even planned to write a farewell letter and disappear to Alaska." That's a bit extreme. I know, she yelled, then suddenly paused. Also Ethan? Yeah. I'm really hot right now. Because you drank? No. Because I'm in heat. Rachel. Touch me. What? Please. Just a little. You need a cold shower. Or your lips. I stared at her. She stared at me. And for one terrifying, hormone-driven second, I almost said yes. But just as things were heating up, the lights flickered, and suddenly Bomai was back. In my apartment. In the elevator. Back to the present. I blinked. Was it a dream? Was it a shared hallucination? No. Because when I walked into the living room, Rachel was there. Sitting cross-legged on the couch. And when she saw me, she crossed her arms and muttered, "I'm still mad at you." So yeah. She remembered it too. And I was definitely not getting out of this timeline without a fight. After everything we'd just gone through, time travel, fake breakups, dog barking in alleys, and that fever dream confession session, I thought things might finally calm down between me and Rachel. Yeah, no. Wishful thinking. Because ever since we got back to the present, she's been even more chaotic. Like, emotionally unstable on a level that makes toddlers look emotionally mature. One second she's calling me her husband and purring like a kitten, the next she's storming out of the room because I didn't like the filter she used on our breakfast selfie. And worst of all, she started bragging to her friends like she was the final boss of relationship manipulation. I caught her in this group chat call with her girlfriends, arms crossed, voice dripping with smugness, saying, "Honestly, I don't get how you guys can't control your men. It's not that hard. Ethan used to be arrogant as hell, but now he's basically my emotional support lapdog. You just need the right techniques." I was in the next room, quietly making ramen, trying not to scream. She continued, "I trained him so well. He even apologized for ignoring me while he was working on an investor pitch. Like, baby, if you're tired, just come crawl into my lap." The girls were silent. Like dead silent. I peeked into the room and realized why. My older cousin Jake, who they all collectively thirst over, was sitting at the table behind them. Apparently he'd overheard the whole thing. Rachel turned around, caught his death glare, and froze like a cat caught knocking over a vase. "Wait, Jake, you didn't hear all that, right?" she asked, voice cracking. "I mean, it's just girl talk. Just exaggerations." He raised an eyebrow. "Who's the lapdog again?" That's when she grabbed her purse and bolted out of the room. I was sipping my soup when she tried to sneak by, but I grabbed her ear mid-sprint. She yelped like a cartoon villain. "Ow, ow, ow. Ethan, let go. That hurts. You still think I'm your emotional support dog, huh?" I grinned. "Can't tell the difference between big and little kings again?" No, I was just joking. "Baby, I was wrong. I love you, you're my king," she whined, clinging to my arm like a koala. The next day, I tried to forget about it. I figured, whatever, girls say dumb things when they're trying to show off. But then she pulled a new stunt. She showed up to my classroom during lunch break, uninvited, and started rifling through my drawer. I walked in just in time to see her pulling out a pink envelope. Her eyes met mine, and she froze like a raccoon caught in headlights. "Rachel," I said slowly, "what are you doing?" She hid the envelope behind her back. "Nothing. Hand it over." "No, 3 seconds or I'm telling your mom." She gasped, panicked, and shoved the envelope into my hand before bolting out the door. I looked down and realized it was a love letter from Emily Carter. I opened it. It was sweet, handwritten, and extremely sincere. She asked me to meet her in the garden after school, and if I didn't come, she'd take it as rejection. Simple. Direct. I sighed, shoved it into my pocket, and weighed my options. Emily was smart, beautiful, and stable. But she wasn't Rachel. So I went. She was already there when I arrived, sitting under the cherry tree looking like a Pinterest photo come to life. She smiled when she saw me, warm and soft. "Ethan," she said, "thank you for coming. I know what this means." I scratched the back of my neck. "Class press, you're amazing." "Like, really? But I can't accept your feelings. I like someone else." She nodded, lips trembling a little. "Rachel?" I nodded again. She forced a smile. "I hope she knows how lucky she is." "Honestly," I said, "I don't think she does." Emily chuckled sadly and stood up. "Can I give you a hug?" I hesitated, then opened my arms. It was a short hug, warm and respectful. "I wish you both happiness," she whispered. I turned to leave, heart heavy but clear. Rachel was waiting for me at the school gates, pretending to scroll on her phone like she wasn't checking the time every 3 seconds. "Let me walk you home," she said, still not looking at me. "You sure?" I asked. "I thought you were too cool for me now." She rolled her eyes. "Shut up. Let's just go." We walked in silence for a while. Then she suddenly said, "So how was your date with Emily?" "It wasn't a date." "Did she confess?" "Yeah." "Did you say yes?" "No." "Oh." She went quiet again, biting her lip. Then she muttered, "You guys are a better match anyway. Smart girl, smart guy. Makes sense." "Rachel, no, I get it," she snapped. "Why would a guy like you settle for someone like me? I'm a mess. A drama queen. I barked in a public alley for you. Emily would never." I was about to respond when she suddenly collapsed. Literally. Just dropped like her strings got cut. I freaked out and carried her straight to her house. Her doctor said it was emotional exhaustion and she'd be fine after a few hours of sleep. When she woke up, she turned her back to me and said in a grumpy voice, "You should go. Your girlfriend might get jealous." "I don't have a girlfriend," I said, exasperated. "Oh. So I'm your mistress now," she hissed. "Am I that pathetic to you? You're being dramatic." "Well, excuse me, Mr. Emotional Support Dog," she snapped. "I may be crazy, but I have standards. I'd rather be your dog than your secret side chick." She pulled the blanket over her face. "Forget it. Rachel Bennett has fallen so low she might as well dig her own grave." I smirked and sat beside her. "Want me to help you dig?" "Don't tempt me," she sniffled. Then, softly, she added, "But if I were your dog, would you pet me?" I blinked. "Rachel. Just saying. Playing with a dog doesn't count as cheating, right? You need therapy." "I need love," she grumbled. "Same thing." "Not really. Rachel." "Ethan." I reached over, touched her shoulder, and said, "You're not my dog. You're not my mistress. You're the girl I've liked since forever. You're the reason I even agreed to come back here." She peeked out from under the blanket, eyes wide. You mean it?" "Every word." Her lip quivered. I want to believe you, but I'm scared." "Then let me prove it." "How?" "Start by not running from me." She slowly sat up, blinking away tears. "What if I mess it up again?" "Then we mess it up together. Promise?" "Promise." And just like that, she tackled me into a hug. "You big stupid golden retriever," she mumbled. "You better never leave me again. Only if you stop barking in public. No promises." Ever since that whole confession hug hospital bed emotional roller coaster, Rachel's been clinging to me like static electricity. Emotional 1 second, smug the next, absolutely feral at times. I thought confessing my feelings would finally stabilize her, maybe upgrade our relationship from chaos couple to peaceful lovebirds. Again, I was too optimistic. The very next day, I gave her a simple handmade bracelet. Just something small, nothing flashy, red thread, 2 tiny beads, something I learned to make in summer camp years ago. Her reaction? She looked at it like I just handed her the Hope Diamond. She squealed, hugged me with the strength of a koala on caffeine, and then bolted to show it off to literally every human within a 2-mile radius. "Look what Ethan gave me," she chirped, shoving it into people's faces. "Custom made. Limited edition. 1 of 1. She even ran up to Emily Carter, yes, the same Emily who had gracefully handled my rejection just days ago, and shoved the bracelet in her face like it was some victory trophy. "Class Prez, see this? Handmade. For me. By Ethan. Isn't that so romantic?" Emily, bless her patient soul, nodded politely and offered a tight smile. I was across the hall and saw the whole interaction. I sighed. I could already feel the chill radiating from Emily's general direction. When Rachel came skipping back to me, I smiled and pulled her aside. "Maybe don't flex it so hard in front of Emily," I whispered. "She just confessed last week." "Oh," Rachel said, blinking innocently. "I forgot." "Wait, no, I didn't. She deserves to see what losing looks like." "Rachel." "What? Am I wrong? You're impossible. And yet you love me." "Unfortunately," I muttered. Not long after that, Emily told me she'd be leaving school soon. She got early admission to Columbia State University through a recommendation exam. Top of the class. Smart, poised, mature, everything Rachel pretended not to care about but secretly resented. Emily handed me a thick notebook on her last day. "Study from this," she said. I wrote down all the formulas and test strategies I used. "It might help you." I almost cried. "Emily, you're a literal angel. Don't forget that when your girlfriend bites your head off," she smiled. "I won't," I promised, taking the notebook like it was some sacred text. A few days later, I returned from lunch and saw Rachel hunched over my desk like she was plotting a heist. She was digging through my drawer, trying to be sneaky, but the second she heard my footsteps, she jumped like a startled raccoon and tried to hide something behind her back. "What's in your hand?" I asked. "Nothing. Rachel. It's a note." "Give it." "No, Rachel, 3 seconds. You and your stupid countdowns," she snapped and finally handed over a crumpled pink envelope. I opened it and recognized the neat cursive handwriting instantly, Emily Carter's. Another letter. My name written at the top, followed by a sweet confession and a request: "If you return my feelings, meet me in the Rosewood Garden after school. If not, I'll assume this silence is your answer." Classic Emily. Straightforward, no fuss. I looked up, but Rachel had already bolted from the room like her ass was on fire. I sighed, stuffed the letter into my pocket, and made my way to the garden anyway. When I got there, Emily was already sitting under the cherry tree, her hands clasped together on her lap. "Ethan," she greeted softly. "I'm not here to change your mind. I just want closure." I nodded, then told her everything. How I appreciated her, respected her, admired her but didn't love her. Her smile trembled a bit, but she held it. "You don't need to say sorry," she said. "Some people just aren't meant to happen." She stood and gave me a tight, warm hug. "I wish you and Rachel happiness," she whispered. "And a little less barking." I choked back a laugh. As I left, I felt lighter. Ready to finally move forward. But of course, Rachel wasn't about to make it that easy. She was waiting for me at the school gate, pretending to scroll on her phone. "So?" she said without looking at me. You went? Yeah. Did she cry? No. Did she hug you? Yeah. TCH. Homewrecker behavior. Rachel, I literally rejected her. Still. She got a hug. I didn't get a hug. You passed out from crying and fever last time I tried to hug you. Excuses. You're ridiculous. And yet, she whispered, looping her arm through mine, you walked home with me. You're so dramatic, I sighed. You like it. I hate how much I do. The following week was oddly peaceful. We studied together, took goofy notes in each other's notebooks, and she even stopped threatening to bite strangers who talked to me. Progress. But one day, I walked into class and found Rachel missing. I figured she was late. Classic Rachel, but during break, I passed her classroom and saw something wild. She was doing a practice test. Like seriously focused. Again. This time, no whine, no whining, no distractions. Her brows furrowed, her lips mumbling formulas, and she didn't even flinch when her friend came over and said, let's ditch after class and grab bubble tea. Rachel actually said, no. I have to study. Her friend looked at her like she'd grown a third eye. You. Study? Don't disturb me, Rachel snapped, not looking up. I walked away with my jaw halfway on the floor. Who knew heartbreak could make someone academic? The monthly results came out the following week. I kept my rank. Rachel climbed from 8th from last to 7th from last. She cried again. I'm hopeless, she wailed into her hoodie sleeve. No, you're not, I told her. You're just not built for math. Why can't I be good like Emily? Because you're Rachel. And that's why I like you. Liar. Dumbass. Rude. Accurate. That night, I went to her house again just to check on her. The moment I stepped into her room, I smelled the wine. She was sitting on the bed, cheeks red, hair messy, crying softly. I'm not smart, she slurred. I'm not good at anything. You're good at stealing my hoodies. I stole your socks too. I know. Your cologne. Yeah, that too. Your heart. I froze. She looked up at me with glassy eyes. Tell me I didn't ruin my one chance with you, Ethan. You didn't, I said softly. Then kiss me. What? Kiss me. Or I'll bark again. Rachel, don't make me do it. I sighed, leaned down, and kissed her forehead. She blinked. That's not what I meant. Too bad. You coward. You menace. I love you. I paused. Say it again. I love you, she said, louder this time, smiling through her tears. And maybe I didn't say it back right then. Maybe I just hugged her tighter. But in my head, the words were already echoing like a song I'd known for years. I love you too, Rachel Bennett. God help me, I really do. I thought confessing my love, giving her a bracelet, hugging her after study sessions, and surviving multiple rounds of emotional whiplash from the infamous Rachel Bennett would finally mean we were a normal couple, or at least a functioning one, but no, Rachel doesn't do normal, she does, scandalous public declaration followed by unpredictable chaos, and she proved it when she invited me to lunch with her and her girlfriends, which I thought was just going to be a calm, low-key group hang but turned out to be a full-blown masterclass on How to Tame Your Boyfriend 101, with Rachel acting like she was the guest speaker, sitting there with her arms crossed and this smug look on her face like she was the queen of the universe while the other girls were nervously sipping iced tea and occasionally glancing at me like I was some kind of rare animal on display, and Rachel, without missing a beat, said, honestly, I don't get why you guys are still scared of your boyfriends. Men aren't that hard to control if you're consistent, and I blinked mid-bite, thinking, oh God, where is this going? And then she said the line that made me choke on my fries, Ethan used to be a proud, untouchable, emotionally unavailable iceberg, and now he's my favorite lapdog, wags his tail whenever I pout, and the whole room went silent while I slowly turned my head to look at her like, are you high right now? Because girl, I literally just did your math homework and bought you bubble tea this morning and now you're selling me out in front of your friends like I'm a housebroken golden retriever, and to make it worse, one of her friends dropped her fork when she saw someone behind Rachel. It was my older cousin Lucas, aka the living embodiment of judgment, who overheard the entire conversation while he was just trying to pick up his takeout, and when Rachel turned around and saw him standing there with this look like he'd just watched a crime happen, she panicked, stood up, and yelled, "It's not what it sounds like," but Lucas just raised an eyebrow and said, "Who's wagging their tail again?" and walked off while Rachel tried to explain herself to her girlfriends who were now looking at her like she'd summoned Satan, and I was halfway out the door when she ran after me and grabbed my sleeve, whispering, "Please don't be mad, I was just trying to sound powerful," and I gave her a deadpan stare and said, "Rachel, I literally do your vocabulary quizzes, and you still thought parabola was an exotic fruit until last week," and she looked like she was about to cry again, so I sighed and said, "Fine, but you owe me one," and she perked up instantly and said, "One what? Kiss? Cuddle? Lifetime of obedience," and I said, "1 week of not calling me your dog in public," and she groaned dramatically but agreed, though 2 days later I caught her whispering to her diary, "My puppy's mad at me again," so clearly she couldn't help herself, but I let it go because she also started genuinely studying harder, even showing up to morning review sessions and voluntarily taking practice tests, though she still got the answers wrong half the time and cried about it like she was being punished by the universe, but it was kind of adorable in that train wreck, Rachel-esque way, and then the final exams came and went, and we both got decent scores, mine higher than expected, hers just high enough to not be held back, and we celebrated by skipping the graduation ceremony and going to our favorite ramen spot where she dramatically declared in front of the chef that she survived high school thanks to her loyal companion and emotional support boyfriend Ethan, and I nearly slammed my head on the counter out of secondhand embarrassment, and then came the part one wasn't ready for. Summer ended, college began, and she got into a local university while I got accepted into one out of state, and for the first time since we time-traveled back, we had to deal with the possibility of being apart again, and Rachel, for all her theatrics, didn't say anything for a full day, which in Rachel time is like a century, until one night she showed up at my apartment, tossed a suitcase at my feet, and said, "I'm moving in for the next few weeks so you can't emotionally detach from me before you leave," and when I asked what she told her parents, she said, that I'm going on a spiritual retreat, which technically isn't a lie if you consider cuddling with you a soul-healing experience, and then she spent 3 weeks alternating between cooking terrible pasta, hogging my blankets, stealing all my hoodies again, and crying every time I mentioned my dorm, and the night before I flew out, she curled up next to me and whispered, "If I could go back again I'd still chase you," and I turned to her, brushed the hair from her face, and said, "I'd still let you catch me," and then she smiled and said, "You better call me every day or I'll show up at your campus in a maid outfit and bark until someone calls security," and I was like, "Please don't," and she was like, "No promises," and when I finally left, she hugged me so tight I thought my ribs cracked, and whispered, "Just don't fall in love with anyone else because no one else would be insane enough to put up with me like you do," and I kissed her forehead and said, "No one else could drive me this crazy and still make me stay," and we stood there in silence, two chaotic souls somehow glued together by time, memory, and a love story that made absolutely no sense but felt right anyway, and as the plane took off and I looked down at the shrinking city, I knew one thing with complete certainty: no matter how far apart we were, I was forever screwed, because Rachel Bennett was the love of my life, my living headache, my unfiltered serotonin, and yeah, maybe sometimes I barked for her, but only because she already had my heart wrapped around her pinky finger since day one.